Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. In the 3rd year of my marriage to Ethan, he met his true love to give her a proper title. He did everything he could to force me to divorce him. My family broke apart, I fell into severe depression, and eventually got hit by a truck on a rainy night. And his beloved, whom he protected so carefully, I had never even seen, living a second life. I decided to let it all go, just waiting for a divorce and the settlement to leave. But who knew Ethan wouldn't let go this time? The banquet hall was filled with laughter and chatter. I sat in a corner, listening to the young actress Carrie talking to her manager nearby. "Why don't you go say hi to Ethan?" her manager asked Carrie. Carrie looked a bit uneasy. "Ethan doesn't like being too high profile," she replied. Her manager chuckled. "True, for someone like him, he's always the center of attention. Getting photographed wouldn't be good for you. He's just protecting you." Carrie blushed and said shyly, "Ethan is really nice to me. The other day my car broke down, so he got me a new one. Recently, he even asked me where I'd like to buy a house." Her manager looked a bit envious. "Well, keep it up. Ethan likes you so much. Go for it. Besides, his wife is just a placeholder." I swallowed a bite of chestnut cake. That placeholder wife they talked about is me, but it's no wonder they don't take me seriously. I've been married to Ethan for 3 years, and he's never been free of scandals. Even though he's not in the entertainment industry, the gossip columns are always full of mysterious Ethan stories from the past. If I heard this kind of talk, I would definitely use my power to demand an end to it. In this life, these words can no longer stir any emotion in my heart. After all, I know these women are just fleeting in Ethan's life, and his truly destined girl will appear today. But she hasn't shown up yet, and I was feeling a bit bored, just about to get up and leave. Suddenly, I heard Carrie scream. A waiter had accidentally spilled champagne, splashing onto Carrie's white designer dress. Carrie's face immediately fell. "What are you doing? This is a custom Lusab piece. Get your manager here now." The young waitress teared up, quietly apologizing, saying she was just a student working a summer job. But Carrie wouldn't let it go. Feeling sorry for the girl, I sighed and said, "Don't make it hard for her. I'll pay for the dress." Carrie raised an eyebrow, looked me up and down, and seeing my low-key outfit, clearly didn't take me seriously. Big words. Do you even know what custom means? You think you can just buy it with some money? The commotion caught Ethan's attention. He frowned and walked over. Carrie, seeing her savior, quickly grabbed Ethan's arm and said pitifully, "Ethan, this waiter ruined the Lusab dress you gave me." The young waitress froze at the sight of Ethan. Carrie proudly lifted her chin. I smirked at Ethan and said, "It's just a dress. I'll pay for it." Ethan gave me a cold look before gently comforting Carrie. "It's just a dress. I'll buy you a new one another day. You should head back." Ethan left with Carrie, and the young waitress was still in shock. I always knew Ethan attracted women, but I didn't expect even such a young girl to be drawn to him. I glanced sympathetically at the girl and was about to leave, but she called me back. "Thank you today. Can I get your contact info and treat you to a meal sometime?" I waved her off. "It's nothing, don't worry about it." Just as I was about to go, the head waiter came over, scolding her softly. "Linda, how could you be so careless?" A bolt of lightning struck my mind. I turned sharply to look at the girl. It was her. She was the one that Ethan, in the last life, severed ties with his family and forced a divorce to give her a proper title. My family and Ethan's family were tied in a business marriage, and a divorce would have massive financial implications. But Ethan didn't care and was determined to divorce, even offering me a generous financial settlement. Unfortunately, I couldn't see it then. I only wanted him, not money. I had loved him for 6 years. How could some girl come out of nowhere and take him away so easily? I used every means to refuse the divorce, pushing Ethan to become my enemy step by step. Eventually, Ethan used ruthless methods to force me to divorce, and I died heartbroken and depressed. Living again, I don't want to play the evil supporting character in someone else's story, nor do I wish to be belittled and driven into self-doubt by someone who doesn't love me anymore. I remembered when I first found out about Linda. I used all my contacts to try and see her. When Ethan found out, he immediately warned me that if I dared to touch Linda, he would terminate our two families' business cooperation. I cried and asked Ethan, "What does she have that I don't?" He looked at me with disgust. "Linda is innocent and lively, the embodiment of all goodness. Apart from her background, she is better than you in every way. After being reborn, I came to understand many things. For instance, when it comes to feelings, there is no rhyme or reason. I accept my defeat, but I can't help but be curious to see what makes this person so special. Now I've seen her, looking at the pretty young girl in front of me. I have to admit she does embody the word goodness." "Hello," Linda called me. "You wanted to exchange contact info?" You scanned me as if possessed. I added Linda's contact info. When the party ended, it wasn't too late. Today is actually my birthday. In previous years, I always prepared a fancy dinner in our empty mansion, holding on to a tiny hope that maybe he'd remember and come home. But every year I ended up waiting for nothing. I would find an excuse for Ethan's absence, then quietly blow out the candles telling myself, "Happy birthday, Jesse." I always thought after all these years even a block of ice should have melted. Living again, I won't go back to that empty house waiting for him like a fool. Before I met him, I hated waiting for people the most. I made up my mind and told the driver, "Turn around, let's go to the Arctic Sea on the way." Unexpectedly, I saw Ethan's car parked by the roadside next to a bicycle that had fallen. It looked like there had been an accident. Looking more closely, I noticed what seemed like bloodstains on Linda's leg. Ethan was supporting Linda and told Carrie in the car, "You go back first." Carrie, whose face was filled with reluctance, had her window rolled down. Ethan saw my car and gestured wildly, wanting me to stop. Expressionless, I rolled up the window and told the driver to speed up. In the rearview mirror, I saw Ethan's stunned expression. For the first time in a long while, I felt a bit happy. Just as I sat down, I heard cheers from the crowd. Someone was proposing. The man knelt on one knee, holding a diamond ring. Surrounded by friends with glow sticks, the woman, covering her mouth in happiness, nodded. The man, like a delighted child, jumped up, spun the woman around, and yelled joyfully. She said yes. The atmosphere was electric. The man generously bought a drink for everyone in the bar. Holding my glass, I let tears fall. There was no proposal when I got married. Back then, Ethan's uncle was gravely ill, and his dying wish was to see our families unite. He held my hand and said, "Jesse, I'm at peace leaving Ethan in your care." Ethan had to marry me for his father's dying wish. Sadly, I single-handedly managed the entire wedding, and Ethan only appeared on the wedding day, just going through the motions. I knew he was clearly slapping me in the face, showing me he was forced into this marriage. I had envisioned proposals countless times and dreamed of weddings countless times. In the end, they were all just a one-person show. Seeing such fiery love now, how could I not be envious? There was a Steinway piano on the stage in the middle of the dance floor. A man with gold-rimmed glasses was playing. I finished my champagne, straightened my dress, walked up to the stage, and softly asked the man, "Can you play Someone Like You?" The man nodded. I sat by the microphone, cleared my throat, and began to sing softly along with the accompaniment. "I heard that you're settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. That for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'll find someone like you." When the song ended, the applause was overwhelming, and countless roses were thrown onto the stage. The pianist stood up, walked over to me, bent slightly and extended his hand. "May I have the honor of inviting the most enchanting lady to dance?" I tilted my head to look at him. He was quite handsome. Since I'm planning to divorce Ethan, he can have affairs, so why can't I be surrounded by admirers? Many couples in our circle play around. Why should I be loyal to Ethan? Fueled by alcohol, I extended my hand to the man. A cold voice came from above. Ethan gripped my wrist tightly, blocking the man's fiery gaze. After saying that, he pulled me into the car without looking back. The car's atmosphere was heavy. I rubbed my wrist and asked him, "Why are you here?" Ethan sneered. "Shouldn't I be asking you that?" I looked at Ethan. He was pursing his lips. His lips were clearly angry. The well-tailored shirt highlighted his perfect curves, and his exquisite profile looked particularly captivating. Under the flickering streetlights, no wonder I was head over heels for him in my past life. Even when angry, he's stunning. The only regret is that he doesn't love me. No matter if I grew my hair long for him or learned to play the violin for him, No matter how diligently I remembered his hobbies, how carefully I managed the house, or how much I respected his parents, love is love and lack of it is lack of it. Even though my car sickness was making me visibly nauseous, he wouldn't ask me what's wrong or stop the car for me to rest. In my past life, I witnessed how he spoke to Linda on the phone. Eyes smiling, gentle and attentive, concern evident. The car stopped in front of the villa, and I sighed in relief, rushing to the bathroom to vomit. When I washed my face and came out, I saw Ethan comfortably leaning on the sofa, smiling at his phone. I called him. He responded without looking up. "Let's get a divorce," I said. Ethan finally looked up from his phone, sneering. "Jesse, what kind of reverse psychology is this?" I met his oppressive gaze calmly. "I'm serious. Instead of being stuck in a loveless marriage, it's better to cut our losses." Ethan still wore a nonchalant smile, though his eyes seemed darker. "You insisted on marrying me, and now you're the one asking for a divorce. What do you think of the song Family? Did you fall for the guy from tonight? No wonder you went to a bar this year instead of waiting at home like every other birthday. You have a new lover," Ethan said, loosening his tie as he walked up to me. He looked down and with one hand lifted my chin. "What, 30 and wild? Can't bear the loneliness." I slapped Ethan across the face. He was stunned, quickly regaining his senses, filled with anger as he gripped my jaw tightly. "How dare you hit me? I've already proposed divorce. What else wouldn't I dare to do?" I decided to push the boundary. Ethan's face darkened. "Why? Just because I didn't spend your birthday with you? It's not the first year. Why are you making a fuss? So you do know today is my birthday, and every year while I wait at home for you, you never come back. You're just..." I choked, taking advantage of my love for you. Taking a deep breath, I stopped myself from crying. "Now listen, I don't love you anymore. I want a divorce." Ethan seemed off ever since I mentioned divorce. The man who came home once every half a year was now coming home frequently. I couldn't hold it in and asked. He retorted, "This is my home, why can't I come back?" There was even a time when he got drunk and started a fight. His buddies actually called me to hold him back. You should know his group of friends used to act like I didn't exist. When I got to the scene, everyone was surprisingly respectful. Ethan had clashed with a group of trainees who were betting on which starlet would ultimately hook up with Ethan, and when I would get dumped. I suddenly understood why Ethan was angry, ready to settle down with Linda, and didn't want anyone bringing up his past. These people probably misunderstood the situation. I cursed. "What does this have to do with me? Why call me?" His so-called friends plastered on fake smiles and said, "Isn't it because they bad-mouthed you behind your back and Ethan stood up for you? Talk to Ethan. Don't let things get out of hand." I gave a cold laugh. "First, you called the wrong person. Second, I don't care if they gossip. Don't drag me into this. And third, what they said is actually true." I turned to leave right after that. "Who told you to call her?" Ethan's angry voice rang out. "Then should we call Linda? Or maybe Carrie? Get lost, all of you." The sound of glass bottles smashing to the ground filled the air. I glanced back at him. Ethan was staring at me, emotions I couldn't read swirling in his eyes. Ever since I mentioned divorce, I felt alive again. I began eagerly planning my post-divorce life. I had a list from before, 50 things I wanted to do with Ethan. I dug it out from a pile of old documents, crossed Ethan's name off, and started planning on fulfilling those wishes by myself. I didn't expect that right after doing the third thing, attending Taylor's concert, my mother-in-law would show up. In my previous life, she was quite nice to me, always firmly standing by my side. Initially, she became the second biggest roadblock in Ethan and Linda's love story. Even when Linda got pregnant, she refused to let her into the family. Thinking of this, I happily ran up to her, hugging her arm. "Mom, what are you doing here in South City? I thought your birthday was coming up, so I came to visit," she said while taking out a finely wrapped box from her bag. "Got this for you at a Japanese jewelry exhibition last month. Hope you like it." I opened the box. The sight of a large ruby made me blink. I quickly nodded. "I love it. I love it. Where's Ethan? Why isn't he home?" "He's busy with social engagements. You know how he is." I covered for Ethan, not wanting any drama before the divorce. Social engagements, my foot. Every day he's out messing around, scandals everywhere. Poor thing. I left some bird's nest soup for you. Go drink it. She then started dialing Ethan's number, muttering curses. To save face, I had 2 bowls of bird's nest soup before dashing back to my room. Strangely, I felt particularly thirsty that night. Half asleep, I kicked off the blanket, reaching for water. Warm lips pressed against mine, and I was enveloped by a domineering embrace. A night of passion ensued. In the morning, I initially thought it was just a dream until I saw Ethan lying bare beside me. I screamed, wrapping the blanket around me as I jumped out of bed, but my legs were too weak. I fell straight to the ground. Ethan chuckled, lifting me with the blanket back onto the bed. Trembling, I pointed at him. "What are you doing, Ethan?" While dressing, he replied, "Looks like my mom set us up. You drank the bird's nest soup too, didn't you?" I couldn't believe it. What I failed to achieve in my past 5 years got accomplished in one night. Accomplished right before our divorce. Fine, I'll consider it completing one of my 50 things. I smirked bitterly to myself. At least Ethan had the looks, the body, and the skills. I didn't totally lose out. Before leaving, I shoved some cash into Ethan's hand and quickly got into the car. Shutting the door, Ethan knocked on the window. "Jesse, what do you mean by this?" I put on my sunglasses, giving a chilly smile. "You did well last night. Consider this a tip." I sped off. Ethan's gritted voice rang behind me. "Jesse, I must be having bad luck lately." I ran into Carrie while getting a treatment at the club. Pretending not to know her, I walked straight past, but she called out, "Miss Jessie, can I talk to you?" I stopped and looked at her. She knew my name, so she obviously knew who I was. "I have nothing to say to you." I waved her off. "Miss Jessie, I want to team up with you." "Team up?" "Ethan has been bewitched by a little slut recently. She's repeatedly set me up, making Ethan think I'm bullying her. Now Ethan won't see me, and how is that my concern? Even if I can't have Ethan, I don't want that slut to get him either. Miss Jessie, I think we have the same goals." "No, I don't care who he's with. We live our separate lives." Before I finished, I saw Carrie's eyes widen. I turned to see Ethan's dark face. "You're blacklisted." Ethan threw out the words lightly before walking away. I turned to look at Carrie. She seemed to have an epiphany. I got tricked by that little brat again. "Miss Jessie, it was her who revealed your identity to me. She deliberately provoked me to come after you. Ethan must have been deceived by her too." The more I listened, the stranger it sounded. "Who are you talking about? Who's been around Ethan lately?" "It's not that college girl, Linda." With Carrie's words in my head, I drove to my alma mater. Today is the 70th anniversary of my school, and I was invited back. There were people everywhere on campus, even though the celebration wouldn't start until the evening. Many alumni came back early to soak in the nostalgia. I confidently made my way into the music hall where, sure enough, a band was rehearsing. A few alumni were scattered in the audience, watching and whispering to each other. "Stop, Linda, you're off key again." The familiar voice of my teacher rang out. I followed the sound. There was Linda, glowing like a star in the center, blushing and biting her lip in embarrassment. It's really weird. Ever since I met Ethan, it's like some spell has been cast, and I keep running into her. A few days ago, while I was out, I helped call an ambulance for an elderly woman with low blood sugar and notified her daughter to come to the hospital. Guess who the daughter was? Ethan. And today at the school anniversary, here she is again. "Jessie." Ethan's eyes lit up when she saw me. "Are you here to watch my performance?" Since I helped her last time, she's been really friendly, always chatting with me. She found out we went to the same school and sent me several messages inviting me to watch her anniversary performance. I didn't want to get involved with her. I didn't expect her to be my teacher's student. The teacher turned, surprised and delighted to see me. "Jessie, perfect timing. Come give this girl some pointers. She just can't get this note right." The teacher pulled me in front of everyone and proudly announced, "This is Jessie. She only studied for 3 years but has a gift. Since she's back, let's have her play the piece for you all." I took the violin Ethan handed me, closed my eyes, and felt the vibration of the strings. Right from the first note, I realized the violin was tuned incorrectly. The original C key should be played as D to sound right. I steadied my mind, mentally adjusting the sheet music. The piece gradually reached its climax. Applause like waves rushed from the audience. I opened my eyes to see a crowd filling the hall, all pointing their phones at me. The teacher clapped along, saying, "This is what true emotion sounds like. Linda, compare it with your playing. Was that sawing wood?" He waved everyone off for a break. Linda, pretty and smart, must be quite a star at school now, publicly scolded. She stood there, head down, face red, tears welling up, still too young. Back then, Ethan once told me in front of many friends that my violin playing sounded like sawing wood, and I could jokingly reply, "At least it's for you." Just then, a girl beside her, holding a flute, shot me a hostile glance, then consoled Linda. "Linda, it's okay. Everyone knows you're the violin goddess of our department, better than some who mess up the minute they start. And it's not like the teacher can still criticize a graduate, you know?" A male student shyly approached with a bouquet, standing before me. "I'm from the Student Arts Committee. These were for tonight's first violinist, but after your excellent performance, we unanimously decided you should have them. Please." Surprised, I realized they were meant for Linda. Maybe Ethan's manipulations in the past left me feeling inferior to her. Now, chosen over her, I felt a subtle joy, so I accepted the flowers graciously. "A bunch of flowers, nothing to fuss about." The girl, still defending Linda, said, "Isn't your boyfriend coming tonight, Linda? He's rich, probably getting you the priciest flowers." Linda glanced at me meaningfully, then tugged the girl's sleeve. "Sandy, stop it." In that moment it hit me. Linda invited me to the show to confront me. She already knew Ethan was my husband. She was watching me as I was watching her. Realizing this, I looked at Ethan differently. Her gaze wasn't shifty anymore. She had confidence. Of course, with Ethan, a powerful man pursuing her, she should feel confident. As I was about to leave, I heard Ethan's voice behind me. "Linda, are you okay? Did anyone bother you? Your roommate texted me saying someone bullied you." "Ethan, don't listen to Sandy. No one bullied me," Linda choked up. "Don't be sad. Tell me who it was. I'll make them apologize." "All right." Before Ethan could say more, Sandy jumped in. "Ethan, it was that woman I've been facing away from Ethan and Linda this whole time. But with Sandy's outburst, I had to turn around, Jesse." Ethan shielded Linda, his voice carrying a hint of anger. "What did you do to Linda?" Ethan's accusing tone took me back to my past life. Countless arguments started with Ethan's accusations. "Were you the one who spread rumors online about Linda being a mistress? Did you cause a scene at Linda's school? What did you say to my mom to make her so biased against Linda? I'm telling you, no matter what you say or do, it won't change Linda's place in my heart. It'll only make me despise you more. I didn't do anything." Now I have a reasonable doubt that Linda orchestrated all that herself. I took a deep breath and looked at Linda. "Why don't you tell me what I did to you?" Suddenly she started crying.
"Jesse, I'm sorry."
I didn't know. Before she could finish, her face went pale, and she held her stomach slowly collapsing. Ethan scooped Linda up and gave me a hateful glance. "Jesse, if anything happens to Linda..." Before he could finish, Linda let out a groan, and Ethan hurriedly walked towards the parking lot. "You should finish what you were saying." I was shaking with anger, but I didn't know who to direct it at. I stormed back home. On the way, I got a message. "Jesse, I'm okay now, but Ethan insists on staying in the hospital to take care of me." I told him to go home, but he refused. Attached was a photo of Ethan peeling an apple. I threw my phone aside in frustration, then picked it up again to message Ethan. "When are we getting divorced?" By the time I got home, I had calmed down a bit. We were supposed to get divorced anyway, so why was I so upset? I had dragged this out too long. I should have moved out sooner. I grabbed a suitcase and started packing. While packing, I unexpectedly found a lot of things. Photos captured by various people on our wedding day, letters I wrote to Ethan, and books I bought to learn cooking with love gone. Keeping these relics only adds to my troubles. I piled them up and burned them. I packed my valuables and left behind a divorce agreement, agreeing to leave with nothing if only to end this awful marriage quickly. Just as I got off the car, Ethan called. "Jesse, what did you say to my mom?" I frowned and calmly explained, "I didn't say anything." "Then why did she go to see Linda?" "Linda was so upset. She's now in a coma. She's very sick." If something happens to her, what does that have to do with me? I hung up and cursed under my breath. After moving, I went out to eat. Just as I left the complex, I heard someone call my name. Jesse. I turned around and someone covered my mouth with a cloth. I passed out instantly. I woke up in an abandoned warehouse tightly bound with ropes, completely unable to move. I had been kidnapped. Footsteps approached, and I quickly closed my eyes to fake being asleep. Boss, will Ethan really step back because of this woman? That's what he says. She wouldn't lie to me. You all better leave now. Don't worry, I'll guard the factory and everyone. I realized something in my past. In my past life, Ethan bought an old textile factory, planning to modernize it into an automated raw materials production facility. This meant that at least half of the original workers would lose their jobs. Linda's dad worked there, and it was the factory they had worked at their entire lives, so they refused to leave. They gathered a group of workers to block the transformation. Relations were tense until Ethan found out that one of the leaders was Linda's adoptive father. He not only offered generous severance, but also helped those who didn't want to leave find new jobs. Everyone praised Linda's father, saying he had a good daughter. They said Linda had been distant before, but after this, she was completely devoted to Ethan. Could that voice belong to Linda's adoptive father? Not long after, others left, and only Linda's adoptive father stayed to watch me. A bucket of cold water was poured on my face. I had no choice but to wake up. Linda's adoptive father held a stick, looking at me menacingly. Transfer $2 million to me. I spat out dirty water from my mouth. I don't have that kind of money. Wham! Linda's adoptive father struck me with the stick. I felt like I was going to die. As he raised the stick again, I shouted, "Wait, untie me first. I need my fingerprint to unlock the phone." Linda's adoptive father hesitated, thinking I couldn't escape, and untied me. I took out my phone. I can only transfer $50K at a time. There's a limit. As I started transferring money bit by bit, I said, "I know why you kidnapped me, for the factory, right? You didn't need to. Ethan is so into your daughter. If he knows you're Linda's dad, he'll definitely back off. You didn't have to take the risk of kidnapping me." Just then someone called. "Boss, Ethan says as long as the hostage is safe, he'll agree to our terms." Linda's father was silent for a moment. "Okay." Not long after, the phone rang again. His expression softened. "I've got her. Don't worry, Linda. I know what I'm doing. This is all my idea. Nothing to do with you. I won't let her ruin your happiness." He suddenly became excited. Bad news, I thought. No wonder he asked for money. He plans to kill me and run. From my past life's investigation of Linda, I knew her parents had remarried. People said Linda's adoptive father adored her far more than her biological father. Seeing the madness in his eyes, I had a bad feeling. I had already sent out my location while he was on a call. If I could stall a bit longer. But it was too late. He had already thrown the phone and was approaching with the stick. "It's all because of you. Linda is in so much pain. She loves Ethan so much, and he still won't divorce you. If you die, Linda can marry Ethan and won't suffer." One heavy hit brought back excruciating pain. I closed my eyes in despair. "Jesse." Before losing consciousness, I thought I heard Ethan's voice. When I woke up, I was in a hospital room. Ethan was asleep beside me, looking shabby and unshaven. I moved slightly and he woke up immediately. "Jesse, you're awake. How do you feel?" he asked joyfully. Holding my hand, "It hurts," I murmured. "Where does it hurt?" "I'll call the doctor to take a look at you, okay?" Ethan hadn't been gone long when Linda wheeled herself into the room. I looked at Linda warily. "What do you want?" Tears streamed down Linda's face. "Jesse, my dad didn't mean to do it. Please spare him." I nodded. "I know he didn't mean to. The person who meant to do it was you." Linda turned pale. "Jesse, what are you talking about? I've been in the hospital sick all this time. Stop pretending you had this plan from the start to get close to Ethan, didn't you? A perfectly good college student suddenly deciding to become a mistress. Why?" I sneered. "What do you know?" Linda gripped the wheelchair tightly. "I've liked him for a long time." Linda had an older sister named Lucy who stayed with their dad after their parents divorced. Lucy was Ethan's ex-girlfriend. The two sisters kept in touch, and Lucy shared every detail of her relationship with Ethan with Linda. Unfortunately, Ethan's family couldn't accept Lucy's background and forced them to break up. Around the same time, Ethan's father fell gravely ill, and by some twist of fate, Ethan married me. Unable to cope with the breakup, Lucy committed suicide. You know what? Linda continued. Ethan is so wonderful. I fell for him the moment I saw his picture. I pretended to honor my sister while holding back my disgust to please my stepfather. I did it just to get the money to learn the violin, which she was best at. I copied her over and over just so that someday when I met Ethan I could immediately catch his eye. And who do you think you are? You're only Ethan's wife in name because you have a good family background. If you were smart, you'd realize you can't beat me. You can't beat a dead person. If you step down willingly, I might even be generous enough to let Ethan give you some more money. Linda's lips curled up as she controlled her wheelchair closer to me. The one who isn't loved is the mistress. Suddenly she cried out, Jesse, please. My father has been an honest man all his life. He really didn't mean to. Then she stood up from the wheelchair and collapsed heavily onto the ground. Sandy, Ethan, and the doctors and nurses rushed in simultaneously. Linda clutched her chest, gasping, holding Ethan's hand. Ethan, please beg Jesse to save my father. Ethan and the others escorted Linda into the emergency room. Shortly after, Ethan returned to the room. He spoke with difficulty. Jesse, can you spare Linda's father? I interrupted with a raised eyebrow. Ethan turned his head, not daring to meet my eyes, and nodded slightly. Fine, agree to the divorce and I'll sign the forgiveness letter. I sneered. Why? Ethan looked at me, eyes heavy. Because you trampled my heart for someone I don't even know. When I agreed to marry you, I didn't know Lucy existed. Your cowardice and Lucy's extremism caused your tragedy. But you transferred all your hatred onto me, who knew nothing. You used my feelings and tortured me for 6 years. Wasn't I innocent? Now you want me. I need to forgive the person who hurt me. For another replacement, I must have been blind to ever love you. I don't want anything now. I just want to divorce you immediately. Stop it, Jesse. Ethan shouted, interrupting me. Then he deflated like a punctured balloon, slumping onto the sofa and covering his eyes. I'm sorry. I looked at him in shock, not expecting to hear an apology from Ethan in this lifetime. I realized my feelings for you a long time ago. It made me feel like I was betraying Lucy. After all, she proved her love for me with her life. So every time I felt for you, my instinct was to push you away with coldness. It was my cowardice and refusal to face the fact she died because of me that led me to blame you. I saw the divorce agreement you left at home. Holding it, I felt my world collapse. The love that I suppressed and tried to shut out surged over me, burying me. Jesse, can you give me a little more time to atone? The doctor said she needs a kidney transplant. Otherwise, she doesn't have long to live. I've already failed her sister. I can't leave her to die. What does that have to do with me? I rubbed my temples, exhausted. You know I got depression because of you. I wasn't lying. In my last life, I indeed developed depression. If you really love me as you say, then set me free. If not, I will die too. The room fell silent for a long time. It felt like an eternity before I heard Ethan's soft reply. Okay. Ethan redrafted the divorce agreement, giving me 80% of the assets. I signed it without hesitation. Ethan's mother tried to persuade me several times, but seeing my resoluteness, she could only sigh repeatedly. Everything seemed to be heading in a good direction, except that I was pregnant. I gently touched my stomach, remembering the doctor's words. Jesse, think this through. Your health isn't great. If you terminate this pregnancy, you might never conceive again. My parents were quite open-minded. Since it's here, it's fate. We can afford to raise the baby. Ethan has good genes, so consider it borrowed. This baby will be our family's little treasure without grandparents to compete for it. Isn't that great? I was speechless, stunned by my mom's optimism, but it made sense when I thought about it. The doctor said my HCG levels were low, so I needed bed rest to protect the pregnancy. So just after being discharged, I was back in the VIP hospital room. After half a month, the doctor finally said I could walk a bit. I couldn't wait to get to the garden below. The sunshine was wonderful, the temperature was just right, and the flowers were beautiful. If it weren't for running into Linda and her foster father, I'd be happier. She didn't look well. Her foster father stood next to her with a humble expression, restrained frenzy in his eyes. I told you not to come looking for me. Why'd you come? I was worried about you. I wanted to check on you. Well, now you see Ethan's taking good care of me. Just go away, Linda. Linda's foster father seemed like he wanted to reach out and touch her, but he pushed him away in disgust. Don't touch me, you pervert. I'm not. Don't think I don't know your filthy thoughts. If you were really that deprived, why didn't you just go for Jessie last time? Didn't you say she looked pretty when I showed you her picture? Linda said, filled with hate. I held my phone recording, furious. I knew she had something to do with the kidnapping. Last time I felt sick with anger. Jessie. Linda noticed me, her face looking a bit off. What are you doing here? You. I choked down my nausea and pretended to be surprised. You're here too. Linda's face was uncertain. She didn't know how much I'd heard. Her foster father's eyes flashed dangerously, but with so many people around, he didn't dare do anything. Jessie, where are you? The nurse's voice called just in time. I hurried away. Late at night, all was silent. My hospital room door suddenly opened. Linda wheeled herself into my room. Jessie, long time no see. I don't think we have much to talk about. Linda smiled, downcast. I came to share some good news. Jessie, I found a suitable kidney donor, and I'm going to have surgery soon. Congratulations. I felt nothing inside. I heard you left with nothing. After all those years with Ethan, he should compensate you. Linda wore a queen-like posture. Do you think I care about his money? I glanced at the cheap Valgari four-leaf clover around her neck. Only a penniless girl like you would see his fortune as everything. I saw Linda's face flush from white to red. After I marry Ethan, my wealth won't be less than yours. What you have, I'll soon have too. I suddenly wanted to provoke her. Really? Didn't Ethan tell you he gave 80% of his assets to me? Though I guess for a girl who's never seen the world, what's left would already blow your mind, Jessie. Feeling smug, huh? You think you've won? I'm about to get my happiness. I won't let you ruin it. What victory, Daddy? Linda suddenly screamed. Linda's foster father rushed in, drove me from the bed to the floor, then kicked me hard in the stomach. I screamed in pain, my lower body convulsing, warm blood gushing out. Think you can use the baby to win Ethan back? Dreaming? I won't let it live to ruin my happiness with Ethan. Linda coldly watched, smiling like a venomous snake. My consciousness started to fade. I had a dream. My parents laughing. Jessie, look at this baby. She looks just like you. A little girl climbed into my arms, soft and small, kissed my cheek. I smiled, starting to call her, then woke up suddenly from the dream. I instinctively touched my belly, mind blank. Terrified, I screamed, Mom, where's my baby, Jessie? Ethan's voice came. I looked at him, dazed. He looked sad. The baby is gone. It felt like my heart was being sliced by countless knives. Gone? My baby that I had waited for so long? I bought her a crib, learned to knit her socks, prepared little clothes. My parents even remodeled a room for her, turned the entire garden into a playground. She never got to see any of it. Where's that murderer? Linda. She killed my baby. I'm going to kill her. I roared. Red like a caged beast, Ethan held me tightly. This isn't Linda's fault. It was her foster father. He's been taken by the police. Linda didn't expect him to suddenly go mad. She's terrified too. No, she killed my baby. She made her foster father do it. It's all her. I struggled madly. Linda's still in the ICU. She's practically dying. Why would she do this? Ethan's voice got a bit impatient. You're too emotional. You need to rest. I stopped, slowly looking up at Ethan, stiff and cold. Ethan, you don't believe me? Ethan pursed his lips, unsure how to respond. I slapped him hard. Get out. If I see you again, I'll hit you again, and Linda better hope she dies on the operating table. Otherwise, it's war between us. Jessie, what's going on? My parents rushed in, pushing Ethan away. I lay in my mom's arms, my thoughts heavy. I will make Linda die a horrible death. I had someone investigate Lucy's death and unexpectedly ran into Carrie. She had a hard time after being blacklisted. She handed me the complete evidence. Jesse, this time we have the same goal. The police also confirmed that Linda's foster father took full responsibility, even for intentional injury. The max sentence would be 10 years. I sneered. I had someone bail him out 10 days later. I brought 2 bodyguards and all the evidence to find Ethan. Linda lay on the hospital bed. In an hour, she'd go into surgery. She got nervous seeing me, gripping Ethan's hand tightly. Ethan comforted her with a pat. It's okay, you just focus on your surgery. Before the surgery, how about I tell you a story? No, I don't want to hear anything. Linda was very agitated.
Fine. Ethan begged.
Jesse, don't provoke her, okay? Her life's at stake. We'll talk after the surgery. I'm afraid not. I sneered. After all, I want her to taste hopelessness too. Jesse! Ethan shouted. I ignored him and played the recording on my phone. If you're really so unsatisfied, why didn't you get with Jessie last time? When I showed you her photo before, didn't you say she looked pretty? You think keeping the kid will win Ethan back? Dream on. I won't let him ruin my happiness with Ethan. Linda's face was full of panic. She probably didn't expect me to record her. She turned and threw herself into Ethan's arms. Ethan, it's not true. It's all fabricated. You have to believe me. Ethan's face was so dark it looked like it could drip water, and there was thunderous anger in his eyes. Do you know how Lucy died? She didn't commit suicide. She was killed by her own dear sister. I threw a pile of documents in front of Ethan. Ethan, don't look. Linda screamed. I grabbed the pile of documents and tore them to pieces. I have more. I made plenty of copies, I said with a grin. Ethan wasn't stupid. Seeing Linda's reaction, he knew I wasn't lying. It was pathetic. The person he had cherished like treasure turned out to be the culprit who killed his beloved Lucy. He fixed his eyes on her. The next second he reached out and grabbed Linda by the throat. Linda, how dare you? Seeing Linda was about to suffocate, I let the bodyguard stepped in to save her. Ethan, do you still want to save her? I asked with a cold smile.
No.
I wish you were dead. Ethan yelled, his anger through the roof. Then there's no need to dirty your hands. Notify the hospital now to donate her kidney. Okay, this time Ethan didn't hesitate.
No, Ethan.
Linda clung to Ethan, her eyes unwilling. Ethan, please don't. Ethan kicked her away. I walked up to her and bent down. How does it feel to have your hopes shattered? Does it hurt? Linda's eyes were red with hatred as she looked at me. Jesse, don't be too happy too soon. My adoptive father has deep feelings for me. If I provoke him even a little, he would kidnap and kill you. If I die, he will surely avenge me. The maximum sentence for intentional injury is 10 years, right? After 10 years, when he gets out, it'll be your end. You can't guard yourself forever. Is that so? He's not in prison. I've already had him bailed out, had his arms and legs broken, and sold him to Myanmar. And I'll post your recording online. Even if you die, you'll die carrying your crimes, despised by everyone. No. Linda let out a wail. There's one more thing you probably don't know. I had already applied for studying abroad. I never planned on remarrying. Ethan, you could have successfully had the surgery and become his wife. Your greed led to this. Linda clutched her chest, lips trembling, breathing rapidly. I stood up and walked away. Behind me, I heard Ethan calling out. I didn't look back once. Linda's death came sooner than I expected. She didn't die of illness but was murdered. The killer was her mother. Her mother read the materials Carrie posted online and finally realized that her other daughter, Lucy, was killed by Linda. She confronted Linda, asking why she harmed her own sister. Linda told her, "Of course, out of jealousy. Why should my sister be given to our father, have a normal life, and a great boyfriend while I had to stay with you, this person who harbored ulterior motives against me? Didn't I try to seek help from you? Didn't I tell you his gaze was terrifying? And what did you say? You mocked me, saying I was young but had a big mind. Every day I lived in the fear that man brought when he hugged me, when he pretended to give me goodnight kisses, when he wiped my sweat in the summer. You knew in your heart but refused to admit it, thinking avoidance could solve everything. You are a total failure, trying to drag me into this mess along with you. You don't even deserve to be a mother. If I could choose the person I most wanted to kill, actually, it is you." Infuriated, her mother, in a moment of madness, cut Linda's artery with a fruit knife. Though the doctors found out in time, Linda was in the late stage of uremia and had little will to live. She ultimately couldn't be saved. When Linda's mother was taken to the police station, she was already insane. The police pieced together the above truth from her incoherent confession. Ethan fell into deep depression, and his mom begged me several times to go see him. I hesitated for a long time but eventually agreed. When I first saw his gaunt appearance, he looked lifeless. He was lying in bed, eyes empty. When he saw me, he finally seemed to have some spirit. Out of respect for his mom, I said a few polite words. Ready to leave, Ethan suddenly asked, "Jesse, if I die, will you remember me?" I answered seriously, "I won't. Don't try to shackle me with a moral burden by dying. Your death and escape are your choice, unrelated to me. If you die, I'll quickly forget you. I'll have a new life, a new lover. I will never follow your path, punishing my future partners for my ex's mistakes. So you should try to live. Maybe many years later, we can smile when we meet again." Ethan covered his face with his hands, crying like a child. The sunlight came in. I looked up, it was a sunny day. Tomorrow will be too, and the day after that. Letting go of the past means every day is a good day.